Wait a minute. Why did I not click live?
Go live.
Hello, everybody. Listen, it is your well woman, Lashana Moore of Holistically Well. This is the Holistically Speaking podcast through Well Life TV. Say that fast 5 times. I am so excited to have you all joining me. Those of you who are also joining this broadcast live. And if you happen to be catching the replay, welcome, welcome, welcome. I do see you on. Hey, you all. There's a live chat available as well since you are signing on by way of YouTube. So I would love for you all to be an interactive part of this experience. This is all about Generation X. This is a Generation X series, and I am excited because personally, I am a proud Generation Xer. I love my generation. I love where I come from. I love the fortitude and all that good stuff. And I think that you're going to see so many great qualities standing out from the ladies who are joining me today. So with that being said, I want to give you just a few fun facts about Generation X. And let me say this too. If you are not a Generation Xer and you're watching, first of all, thank you. But I want you to also use this episode as an opportunity to kind of glean from and maybe produce or create some insight for you as well. So a few things, ladies, about Generation X. We are known as several things, but one of the things that really stands out to me is that we're known as the adaptable generation. Yes, if I do say myself. Generation Xers are typically between the years 1964 and 1980, 1981, give or take a digit. We are responsible for the beginning, the emergence of the tech innovation.
Oh, yeah.
So right at the cusp of, for me, it was pagers.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, it was pagers, and then the first cell phone, the car phone with the big bag.
Big,
And then I think MySpace was my first social media experience. Google and Amazon, the founders of Google and Amazon, if I'm not mistaken, are from Generation X. We are the innovators of pop culture development, lovers of the work-life balance. We love stability.
Oh, yeah.
We are self-sufficient and goal-oriented. And we enjoy creative and entrepreneurial innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, Generation X. Hey, I love it.
We present to you.
Generation X. Oh my goodness, I love it. Hello there, Misty, I think it is. Thank you for joining us. Welcome, welcome. So tonight's conversation is rated GFC. That means grown folk conversation.
All right.
That means that this conversation is going to provide you relatability, honesty, truth, and genuine conversation from genuine ladies. So if you are all about authenticity, I think that you're really going to appreciate this disclaimer as well. Views, opinions, and shares.
Tap into the mic. Speak into the mic.
Are strictly our own. Cue Bobby Brown's My Prerogative. We do not seek to convert, intrude, or dissuade your thoughts or your routines. Thank you for joining us.
Very good. Very good. Period, as the young people say.
Period. I would like to introduce these ladies, and as I was sharing with them, I didn't want to write anything down. I'm blessed to know them. I wanted this introduction to be very authentic, but I want to also give ourselves enough time to have talk time and to share with you. And if you all have questions that you'd like to submit as well, I believe we welcome that also. So what I'd like to start with a lady to my right, possibly your left. She is known as the Maven. I have always affectionately called her the Olivia Pope of women's business and business development because she handles it.
Listen.
Everyone needs who I consider a crisis manager. And Myra does that with grace and with ease and with joy. It just comes out of her naturally. She's a great friend. She's a wonderful orator. She's an author. She is the founder of the Maven Nation. So we may have some Maven Nation ladies out there. And I absolutely love this woman. I am graced to know her. Everyone, please welcome tonight on the platform, Maven Myra.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now look, we ain't gonna start with no tears in here, okay? Let's everybody be together. Let's everybody hold it together, okay? All right, carry on.
Listen, it's from the heart. And then right below me, I feel like the Brady Bunch.
Right.
Right below me, I call this lady Stavinia Jones. She is the techie, and she is a brainiac. She is a woman to know. Her name is Franca Bally. Franca, is it Bally or Bailey?
It's Bally.
Okay, I thought so. Franca Bally. She is a woman to know. She's a UX designer. She is a creative. She's an orator as well. She is in demand. And if you are ready for the real deal when it comes to design, when it comes to creativity, when it comes to brand and making sure that your brand is consistent and professionally represented, this woman is the go-to person. You can view my website, Holistically Well, and Maven's website. She's the brainchild behind those two as well. She is wonderful. She's a sister friend. Everybody welcome Miss Franca Bally.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me, Franca.
Thanks, Jen.
And then last but not least, bringing to the platform, this is a woman that I have known probably for half of my life. Her name is Shawana Leonard, and she's my sister-in-law. She's a friend. She has been a counselor. I label her as a superwoman, although I know in the current climate, we have an issue with being titled superwomen. But because she is so multifunctional, she's so multi-skilled, should I say. She wears so many hats, and she has a grace on her that is just unmatched. She's a businesswoman. She's an author. She has a platform for praying mothers. So ladies, you need to connect with her regarding your children. She is an awesome, awesome human being, a woman, and she's so even-keeled. So even-keeled. Everybody, welcome to the platform, Shawana Leonard.
Thank you.
All of you all are mothers. We've got an empty nester, Maven.
Thank you. Very gracious.
Yes. Your two boys are in transition from high school. She has twins, and they are high school graduates.
To be.
Awesome. Oh my!
Next month.
Another month, right? Next month, May, and then Shawana. Well, you're still on the battlefield.
I'm still on the battlefield. Yes. For me, I don't think I'll officially ever be an empty nester because of my oldest son. But yes,
she has a 22-year-old, 18. Larry's 18.
19. Larry's 19.
Oh my God, 19-year-old and 16-year-old.
Okay.
Her 19-year-old.
17. I'm sorry.
17.
17. Yep.
And she is an advocate for mothers or parents, really mothers, but parents of children with autistic disorder or from the autistic spectrum. And when I tell you the way that this woman handles it, so all of y'all look good.
Thank you. As you do as you do as
Greatness hangs around and knows greatness. That's why we're friends with you.
There you go.
And we listen to what you tell us about taking care of ourselves.
Listen, and so I'm so glad you said that, because I think that as we have conversation tonight, and here's the thing, tonight is not about perfected scripted conversation. That's why I labeled it or rated it GFC. It's for women who really want to know what the truth about navigating life looks like from decade to decade to decade. So we're going to share that with you. All of these women that are joining me tonight have experienced the highs and the lows and the in-betweens of life, being on the mountain and being in the valley and dusting yourself off and reinventing life and revisiting life at so many phases and decades of life to decide, okay, what does this season require of me? So if you really want to honestly know how to navigate this life, I know that you're going to glean so well from them. And with that being said, as we get into the meat of this conversation, I have a quiz that I have asked them to participate in. They do not know the questions that are going to be asked. They only knew what materials to bring to the podcast. And so now, without any further ado, I want to introduce to you these 3 questions, ladies. This is how it's going to go. I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to give you multiple choices. You're going to write the answer that feels the most authentic. Don't think twice. The most authentic to you.
All right.
And then you're going to share them one at a time. And we're either going to say, ooh.
Got it.
Don't shame me, Shan.
Shame-free zone, Franca.
I didn't have you signing a waiver, right?
Are you reading our Brene book? No shame.
right. No shame. All right, here's the first question. What song best describes the current season of your life? A, Just Fine by Mary J. Blige, MJB. B, End of the Road by Boys to Men. Or C, Ain't No Mountain High Enough by Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell. And so here are my reasons behind all 3 of these songs. Just Fine is the season of content, satisfaction. End of the Road is the season of going through changes and transitions. Ain't No Mountain High Enough represents determination and resilience. You have 10 seconds to complete your What song, and ladies, if you are listening, you're watching us, I want you to think about that too. What song would you say describes the season of life that you are in? So this is how I'd like for us to flow with these. Any of you who want to start and then just let the answers flow after that. Who wants to give us their answer? Is it A? Is it B?
I'm A.
Let's see. Maybe Myra, you are A. Just fine.
Listen, you know, and I was if I could pick 2, it would be A and C.
Right. Yeah.
Because I'm content, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like you know how you work on something for so long. Lashana, you and I talk about this all the time. And there's not constant, but there's always a curve you've got to maneuver, stop sign you didn't anticipate. And so you're always like refining and working on something. You're never all the way there, which is the journey, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I feel like that contentment.
Wow.
And I've learned also in that contentment that doesn't mean I'm where I want to be, but I'm resting in showing up and that I'm prepared for the blessing. Whatever it is, I've done the pre-work so that now I'm ready for it to show up. So all I have to do is be content and literally walk it out, which is one of the greatest 50 plus things I think I've started to get a better handle on. Is listen, sometimes you got to just be. Okay. There's not another thing to create. There's not another proposal to write.
Right.
Be sometimes there's a season of being and being able to rest in that. And that's what the contentment means for me.
I love it. You said a mouthful just with content.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I piggyback on that. Mine was kind of A and B. Okay. I definitely get it in terms of just being at a place where you have your so many of the transitions, and definitely to a place, you know what? Well, this is where after that, this is my resolve. You know, I'm here where, you know, this is my conviction. This is where I'm at, and this is where I'm going to rest. As you stated, I'm going to rest right here. And so I'm just fine with the decisions that I made. You know, I'm just fine with the stance that I just took. You know, I'm just fine with the letting go of that. You know, I'm just fine because that is what's going to propel me into where I'm going now. So
Love it. I love it. Do you know, learning how to be content, learning how to just be fine is an art, a journey, a place that so many people are striving to learn or struggle with the concept of. And that's really only something that time and maturity and going through life, and I don't want to get ahead of myself because Frank, I want you to share yours. Going through different phases of life can teach. Franca, what you got?
Absolutely.
Mine is C.
Hey, I like it.
And of course, the graphic artist would make.
Right. You got to design.
All right. You're trying to show us up. Okay, Frank.
No. I mean,
no mountain high enough. Tell us about it.
I believe that right now I'm in a very determined season to actualize my dreams. I read this book many years ago called God Never Blinks. And the book is really about really dying empty, meaning that you fulfilled your full potential and you are really released into the world everything that you were given in terms of your gifts. And so I'm in this phase of really trying to manifest the dreams and the desires that I have inside of me and not really letting anything die inside of me. So that could be a book, it could be a course, it could be, taking a trip. I'm really very determined to release into the world without really overthinking too much, which has really, I think, can plague a lot of women and can stop us is the constant noise in our head of not being good enough or comparing ourselves or feeling like imposter syndrome has showed up, but really just birthing those ideas without really overthinking them and just letting them out.
I love it. There is all of you all, your responses are reminding me of a podcast on Oprah's Super Soul Sunday that she did with Michelle Obama. Every woman has.
I listened to the whole thing. It's excellent.
It is excellent. I think she was with her Weight Watcher.
Yes.
And it was like a forum or a conference or something. There's one thing, there are many things that stuck out to me that Michelle said. One of the things she said in particular when they were talking about being in your body and your health. And we know that that's a big deal. We're going to talk about health in a second and well-being. Michelle said she has appreciated being in a body that has changed throughout the years. The body has been smaller, it's been wider, it's been fitter, it's been weaker, it's been stronger. It has required so many changes and tweaks of her that in her 50s now, she is able to appreciate being in a body that has had so many changes. And I think about that and I'm like, you're so right about that, because how else would you be able to navigate well in this body if you had not been introduced to this body adjusting in different seasons? If I only know this body at one type, then it's possible that when I navigate a new season and this body totally changes on me, that the betrayal feels like I'm not going to be able to figure it out. And I loved when she said that. I'm like, you know what?
I like that.
We got a lot of experience. You know, we have known each other in a lot of different seasons. And so ladies, if you find the time, pull up that podcast. I think you can find it pretty much.
I'll check that out. I have to check that out for sure.
I've listened to it.
I like a good podcast. I love a good podcast for sure.
Love it.
It was great.
Preach, especially after having a baby.
Yes.
With this snapback culture, y'all.
Yes.
Listen, Taps
Mike.
Taps Mike. It's not real.
It's not real. It's not real. It's not real.
No.
If it is real, it's not very healthy. Listen.
No.
You listen. There's a meme or a voiceover going around on TikTok and Instagram, and it's asking, like, this wife is asking the husband, "Have you made people?" I made people. I made people.
That's right.
That's
what
a whole
person.
Yes.
That's too much pressure.
It is a lot of pressure. And, you know, it goes against just natural anatomy and physiology. Your body's going to, your mind, and I'm not even a maternal mother, biological mother, but I know that it takes time. Every part of you is adjusting.
Yeah.
So, in speaking about that health, well being, living in these bodies, and finding truth and contentment and satisfaction, how has your health and well being changed? I want to focus on two areas. The first one, how has your health and your well being changed for the better in this phase of your life? And in this phase, all of you are representing latter 40s to the infancy. I call it the infancy 50s. So you've seen some things, you felt some things, you're navigating through some things.
Yes.
How has health and well-being changed for you in this season where you are in your life?
I'd say for me, it has changed in really focusing on the health side of it. Now, listen, make no doubt. I say this all the time. LaShanna know I said this to her when she was my personal trainer. I work out for my health, but I want to be cute and fine in my clothes. Listen,
Hello.
that's what it is.
The truth be
That's what
told.
keeps me showing up.
Exactly.
Is when the jeans get a little tight, I'll be like, oh, wait, let's gather yourself. But plus 50, it's really focusing on the health and being healthy, not being a size X, not because for me, I've been pretty much this same size for the
Brick
last
house.
10, 12 years.
Brick
Fluctuate a
house.
little bit, but this here is what it is.
Yes.
And for me to go down 2 or 3 sizes, I'd have to be eating lettuce all day. It's not gonna happen for me. It's just not.
And then we're gonna be calling you, Myra. You all right?
Right. You look thin.
Right.
Looking a little sick.
Right.
She all right. She does not look good.
Have y'all talked to Myra? She doing all right?
Right.
For me, it's just understanding my body and
Yes.
knowing what works for my body. Because, you know, if I go, my target is to try to eat healthy 80% through the week, give myself a little bit more relaxation on the weekends so that I'm not worried about, oh my God, I had a cookie. I can't live like that.
Right.
So that's the balance for me, is keeping it tighter on what I eat through the week, relaxing a little bit more on the weekends so that I live a well-balanced, even lifestyle, like fitness and eating and all that for me is a lifestyle. I can't do a binge diet to lose 20 pounds to go to somebody's graduation, wedding. I can't.
Go summer body phenomenon.
Yeah. Look, I might have a hot girl summer with what I got. Listen, we're going to still have a hot girl summer.
Bringing it all to the beach.
But it's right here.
Yeah.
So really for me, plus 50 is understanding my body, knowing what I need to do to keep me healthy and happy, and really all the other noise that goes on in this health and wellness space, letting that pass by me and not keep me pressured with, I've got to be this size and do this thing and not have any of this. It's too much for Myra to keep up with. So I've learned what works for me. And for me, when I get a little too far off the rail, like the weekend extends to Wednesday, I'll be like, okay, dial it back a little bit. And that works. And I keep going. But my target plus 50 is, I'm not trying to be a size X. I'm trying to stay in the cute clothes I currently own and move on with my life.
Got you. I love it. I love it. I love it.
For me, I would say for me, it was just becoming more aware and becoming more, it was about the better for me was about becoming more aware and conscious about my health. Whereas maybe before, what numbers? Now at this phase in my life, it's about numbers matter. And it's about, really appreciating what is going on, and then how I'm able to respond to what's happening, like you said, what's happening to my body, and not being afraid of learning, some new things that maybe I need to try to change some, going back to the numbers or going back to those things that will help pertain to me specifically. But really it's really honing into like becoming more aware and becoming more conscious and being willing to respond to what it's going to take for me to live a more healthier life. Because I plan on living for a long time. And so that's what it's been for me.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear both of you saying, and Franca, you're going to share yours. But what I hear from both of you is a very personalized,
right, absolutely,
decision on what this means for you. Therefore, this is how I'm going to walk this road.
Right. Yeah,
I love it.
And I will say, Shanna, Oh, sorry, before Franca adds, that I
Yeah.
really got a good handle. I'm so happy that I met you in my 40s before we got to the 50s to really get a clear handle on that, because that's your full approach. You have been doing a holistic approach to wellness before you created this brand called Holistically Well. That's
Right.
been the
Yep.
approach. And
Yep.
that's where I really first started seeing it differently, and how I could craft a custom fitness and health lifestyle that fit me, and that I didn't have to be on some trend hamster wheel to
Yes.
try to keep up with something. You've always, from the time I met you, been saying that, been showing that, been
Yeah.
really showing that by example, that health and wellness can be good. It doesn't have to be this torturous lifestyle that
Yes.
I sometimes see people go through. Like, I'm like,
Yeah.
I still want to enjoy life, right?
Right.
While
Yeah.
creating a healthy lifestyle. So
Exactly.
I applaud you for showing me that in my 40s, so that when Mother Nature really started the grind in the 50s, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
listen, I'm prepared. I'm a little more prepared.
Exactly. Wow. Thank you, Myra. Thank you so much. Franca, how about you?
For me, health is wealth,
Yeah.
but I'm really focused on management of stress. That means making sure that I get my
Yeah.
sleep in,
Yes.
making sure that I manage how things affect me during the day. My mental health is
Mhm.
very important. So for me, it's seeing a therapist if I need to process things, making
Mhm.
sure that I'm real authentic with my feelings, that
Mhm.
my circle includes women that pour into me and I don't feel depleted by the work that I
Mhm.
do.
Mhm.
And making sure that I am nurturing relationships in a different way, that my whole self is really taken into regard as it pertains to those things. Because I
Yeah.
think a lot of times, as you are younger, you're on this hamster wheel, and you're trying to
Hamster
make
wheel.
sure that everybody's needs is taken care of. But you know,
Yes.
heart disease and diabetes and certain things run in a lot of our families.
Right.
Mhm.
And
Right.
if we
Yep.
don't be mindful, we can
Mhm.
go that same way. And I think you and I have talked a lot, Lashana, about the things that we can control. What I
Yes.
put into my mouth, the power of food to transform your life. So
Absolutely.
even if I exercise a lot, but if I don't eat right, it will really derail me. So recently I decided to go vegetarian, and some days I'm vegan. And it
Mhm.
was not because I don't, and it's very balanced. I eat rice, I eat bread, I still have
Mhm.
sweets, but
Mhm.
I eat it in a healthy way. I make
Mhm.
most of my food. I stopped eating out. And, for the most part, control what I put in my spoon, because food can transform your whole body. So I
Right.
think as you get older, you start looking at, it's not a sacrifice to not eat
Right.
out
Right.
if you're going to live longer and be healthier and
Mhm.
feel good in your body. And I think
Absolutely.
Yeah.
that's a sacrifice I'm willing to take.
I
Yep.
like that. I like
Absolutely.
your
Choices.
personal conviction. Yeah, choices, your personal conviction. I think it threading what all of you, merging what all of you have said, and even in my own thoughts and thinking about my life transition and from phase to phase, it's so important to figure it out for yourself,
Mhm.
because not only just in conventional medicine, but in my industry as well. I tell my clients this all the time. I'm in a $1 trillion industry. And just like doctors are pushing meds, practitioners and brands, or people who don't even have a certification, they have a skill, or they have the gift of gab, or they have a following and they have brought themselves under a wellness brand,
Mhm.
are going to convince you of different types of modalities.
Yes.
At the end of the day, one of the reasons why it is so important to find out what works for your life, which is going to constantly be tweaking, let me tell you, let me
Yep.
tell y'all,
It's a
and let
journey
me
within itself.
co-sign on this. You are not going to find one magic formula that is going to work from 17 years old to 87.
Right. Right. Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
You're going to
Very
tweak
true.
it every so
Yep.
often. And nothing has solidified that for me more than the challenges and the transitions that life brought me.
Yeah.
Yes.
That Lashana didn't ask for them.
You didn't raise your hand.
Life got the remote control and was like,
Right. Here you go.
Next
Now what you got to do?
Yes.
how are you going to navigate through
How
this?
you gonna navigate? Yep.
For your mental well-being, for peace, and it's an uphill battle because we're in a culture that is constantly shouting at you, do this, do that,
Yeah.
do this, do that. And it feeds off of the desire and the desperation of women who want to look good, who want to be better. But let me tell y'all something real quick. I'm not going to soapbox because I have guests who are here to talk. And there's no worse pet peeve that I have than watching somebody's show and the host is doing all the talking and the guest. So I'm gonna say this and then I'm gonna stop. There is nothing that is more cringeworthy to me than to have someone hyping you up about a product or a trend and they know nothing about your history.
Right.
They know nothing about your mental health.
Yeah.
They know nothing about what your body has been through.
Right.
They have not looked at one lab report, and I'm going to tell you that this is what you need to do.
Right.
So, as the old folk would
Agreed.
say, take it with a grain of sand. Mama Graham in my home church used to say, feed it with a long handled spoon.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them also say, chew the meat and spit out the fat.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have got to find what works for you. How has your health and well-being been problematic in this phase of your life? What are you working
I know for me, the body, even though you're making these changes and you're learning and you're making the adjustments, it still doesn't mean your body is still changing, and some things you can't alter. Hormones. Hormones are coming, or the muscles and the bones are functioning different, flexibility. And so movement is different to some degree. So for me, it's about the problematic of, understanding that maybe I don't do it as quickly in my mind as I would want to, but how do I make the adjustments, as you say, the tweaking as it relates to my body now, and maybe even to get up to progress to that, state that I'll be able to flow a little better and it won't be as problematic. Like one of the things I used to love doing, I would love jogging. Jogging was my thing. And now my ankles and my, they don't move the same way.
It's not set up the same. It's not set up the same.
Right.
I change shoes and all that. The setup is a little different. And
yes.
And so, I don't go as long for certain reasons or whatever. And I started something I've been wanting to do for a little while now, which is my first love when I was young, skating. I enjoy skating. I'm doing it really. My first priority is for another form of cardio. But even in that, the problematic with
we got to talk, Shawana, because I've been trying to get these ladies to go skating with me. I know
that. The effort and the choice to still make.
Trying to get people in the ER. She always won. She the one.
Hey.
No. I'm going to share with you ladies on Instagram. There's a young black lady.
We're going to have to get to that.
I think you're overlapping. I think your Wi-Fi is delaying just a little bit. I think your Wi-Fi is delaying. The Wi-Fi is starting to delay just a little bit.
I can hear.
Yeah, she's frozen now.
Okay. Should I go out and come back in or what?
Yeah,
probably. I can hear you now.
No, I can hear you now.
Let me
just for a moment.
For me, Lashana, the big.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, I'm going to circle back to you though, Juana. Go ahead, Franca.
The big change for me is making sure that I have proper recovery. Because if you didn't have to recover, it didn't take you that long before. Now I have to roll, I have to stretch, I have to make sure I get enough sleep. I might have to take an Epsom salt bath. Like recovery is critical, because if I don't recover well and then I try to go back, I'll hurt myself. And so, even if I do a exercise that I enjoy, like skating, but I come home and I don't properly recover and let my body, rest, I'll hurt myself. So that's been a real transition. And then recognizing that recovery helps you have a better workout. the next day. So it's very vital that we look at those things and the nutrition that aids in recovery. So you've taught me this. Thank God you told me about things that I can drink when I come home to help aid in recovery, natural things that I can drink. And so that's really important. And people probably don't know that, but there are things that you can drink and put in your water. How much hydration you get is important to recovery. You know, and so people kind of skip that. They're like, oh, I got to lose weight. I got to go to the gym every day. And they don't give themselves time to recover. That can derail you just as much as, you know, if you don't go work out. So I really thank you for teaching me that.
For sure. Yeah. Preparation. Shawana's talking about finding what works with the new body and with the joints. And Franca is sharing about recovery and preparation to do.
Yes.
I love it. Y'all are so mature.
Listen,
What you got, Maven?
We've been learnt. We've been learnt over the years.
No, real quick, Franca, Tara says she'll go skating with you.
But LaShanna, I want to make a point. Franca always the one with the big idea, and Tara always the one to jump on board. Listen, we just been running behind them trying to keep up.
Next week, skating party.
I was going to tell you, ladies, that there's a young Black lady that I met, Franca, at our brand event, who does skating every Tuesday. Like she has a whole, it's something in Daisies. I'm going to find it on Instagram and share it with you guys.
Yes.
But it's
one of you all just went skating.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, it's been so in the 40s, I feel like the hormone changes and shifts were maybe annually. Since I've gotten into my 50s, it's like every 3 months, every 6 months. There's something that I was taking that was working. Now I'm back on the phone with LaShanna saying, well, that was working and now that's not working. What do I do now? It was like the frequency of the hormone changes is faster, and the ability to, when in your 30s, you're like, oh, I want to drop 5 pounds. Okay, you stop having snacks for 2 days, you lose 5 pounds. Girl, it's a whole strategy session to lose 5 pounds now. So it's again understanding your body and really shifting the mindset as well to know, look, sis, it's just not gonna happen like it happened before.
Right.
The 5 pounds is like redistributed in a different way.
Listen, right. So, oh, you want me to lose it right here?
Right now.
We're just gonna go
this week. Here. Like, I want you to lose it before I have to wear that dress on Saturday. And it's like, I would suggest you buy another dress. That's what I suggest.
That's real talk.
Yeah.
That's
and it's really being okay with that mindset.
Yeah.
And listen, my body is changing. I've got to change and adjust with it, and not beat myself up about that.
That's right.
Be okay with it.
Be kind and compassionate to yourself.
You know, the Maven quote is, be gentle with yourself.
Be gentle. Be gentle. Be kind. Grace is a necessary factor in life.
Yes.
I so respect and I admire the younger generation. I see a lot of influencers and I admire them. I respect them for what they do. They're very well learned. I think that's one blessing about the millennials, is that they're really about information, and I appreciate that. The grace factor in that is, at this point, they have only lived so much life.
Yeah.
Their bodies have experienced only so much. And if you don't have the capacity to help me in an area that you have yet to experience, then number one, there's a grace factor that has to be there, because this is an unknown area. And even if it's textbook knowledge, it's not experienced. It's not an experience. And so grace is so important, because you've got to take it into every, listen, we're going to speak for the rest of our lives. Y'all, everybody who's watching, get it in your spirit now.
I have a really good point I wanted to add to that. I was listening to a podcast, and the gentleman is somebody that worked in, he does grief work, and he works with parents and people who have had a loss. And then one day, his young 21-year-old son died. And it changed his perspective. Before, he didn't know what those parents who had lost a child had gone through. And what he said, if I could talk to those parents, what I would say to them is, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize how the depth of your pain.
Mm-hmm.
Because until you have experienced something
Mm-hmm.
that dramatic, no matter what anyone tells you, you can't really understand what that walk is like.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's what you're saying with the millennials, although really respect that they have the knowledge, the understanding, the deep understanding comes from having walked two different phases in the same body, and having had those experiences, and how that informs you to be able to talk about it later.
Absolutely. It is. It has, I think it has been what has provided me the grace and the compassion ending up in this field because of what happened to me at the hand of someone who was negligent.
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
That's how my profession changed, you know, at the hand of someone who was negligent. And so seeing how, I don't want to say it destroyed my life, but it definitely forced a pivot.
Yeah.
From performing arts into health and wellness. And so when people trust to give you their body and their pain, that is a vulnerability. They're saying to you, here I am. I feel broken. I feel out of order. I feel dismembered. Help me.
Yeah.
And that requires a compassion. Ladies, real quick, I want you to, we've been saying the words. There are a lot of buzzwords in this industry: clean eating, wellness, well-being, health, healthy, organic, natural. Please give me your definition of health and well-being.
I believe, I'm sorry, I apologize earlier. My Wi-Fi was really messing up, so sorry about that. But so while it's good, I want to go statement. So health and well-being, to me, they kind of intersect. Like basically, you know, being healthy emotionally, being healthy physically or mentally, spiritually, is the same thing as being well. Vice versa. If you're well, those areas, I think that is becoming more healthy as well. I think, but I believe one of the major things for me is that health and well-being is tied from the mind to the heart.
I like that.
Of my thoughts. It's really checking my perspective on things. It's really three major things for me personally. When I think about the mind and the heart being connected in this health and well-being space, is for me trusting as a believer, I would say, trusting in God as my daily bread. You know, literally, my joy cup, my strength, hope, my identity, my purpose. So
I like that.
My bread of life.
Yeah.
My health and well-being, I see it as being this unlearning of a way of behavior or thinking, unlearning something that I might have thought aren't really, that I've learned that aren't really serving me well. So really unlearning, and thirdly,
I like
really
that.
being willing to grow and to develop into a space maybe that may stretch me and me to be comfortable. So health and that is balancing health and well-being for me. That's where
You were breaking up a little bit, but we pieced that thing together. I think
Yes, we got it.
but at this point, I think whatever you shifted or changed is probably the better option. Just stick with right where you are, because we heard. I'm like, okay, 3 points. Come on, I heard you.
she tied it in.
Yeah, willing to unlearn some things. That's
powerful, because that's a big part of the journey.
Things I've learned, you know, from a teenager on up. I might have to, you know, I might have thought a certain way. Well, you know what?
Yes.
Wait a minute, why am I thinking that way? You know,
absolutely.
And you know, and learning that does not serve me in any capacity. So let me see how I.
That's powerful. The willingness to unlearn something.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
I would say, I have my language in Maven Nation, and one of my words is balance rhythm. And for me, that is the part of creating success, whatever that looks like for you, without sacrificing your relationships, your health, and your mental sanity. That's what well-being means for me. A
Yeah.
holistic approach to what my life should be. I was laughing with someone yesterday talking about, I have become the queen of ordering my grocery online.
Yeah.
Don't judge me. Don't
Yes.
judge me. But here is something that I said. I was doing it in the grocery store. This is something else I learned from LaShanna about reading those ingredients on what it is you're eating. So, kind of that rule of 7. If there's more than 7 ingredients and you can't pronounce them, you probably should leave that on the shelf. Well, when I'm ordering online, all I got to do is click the ingredients tab now. And when I start seeing the gum this and the gum that, remove from cart, I'm like, no, listen, just so that really, like Shawana said, unlearning some things that, listen, our parents didn't know this stuff. They didn't have all of this information.
Right.
They taught us the best they knew and what they had.
Right.
We have a whole lot more options in front of us.
Right.
Information is a powerful tool. So really being intentionally aware. I think Franca touched on it earlier about what am I putting in my body?
Right.
And I'm always equating it to how long does the workout have to be to get rid of that? Like
I'm shutting down the laptop.
How much cardio do I have to do to get that out of my system? I'm like,
oh my,
it's not working. So really that well-being for me is my relationships, my health, and my mental sanity. Because I think even during the period of lockdown with COVID, so important that we came to realize that you can have an amazing brand and all kinds of things and stuff. But honey, if you do not have your health, like what is it? Like that can deter a lot of things. And so really keeping that in the forefront of my mind. Again, I enjoy some of the things that I want to eat, but I can't enjoy it every day. I can't do the cookie every day. Right. So really just being intentional about what is that success and that holistic approach look like for me and being okay and sticking with that.
I like that. I like that. So good. Franca, how about you?
I kind of agree with Shawana. I've been going through a lot of unlearning. I'm West Indian. I was raised on a West Indian diet, but I'm not.
Don't abandon it.
Right. Good stuff.
No. I mean, and the thing is, when I moved here, a lot of what I used to eat, I left in the islands, and I don't eat the same way. And so I adopted a different way of eating, thinking that somehow I would be able to sustain that. And what I realized is I have to go back to the healthy way that I used to eat, meaning a lot of what I eat now is fruits and vegetables. And I grew up going out in the sun and working out. And so my health is really tied to getting back to the basics.
Yeah. Franca, you didn't eat goat.
Yeah. Goat is Trinidadian, but like we can't eat like that at this age because our body and our digestion is different. And I've had to learn that how I listen to how I feel, listen to how my body is, what it's telling me. How do I feel pain in terms of inflammation? Your body starts to talk to you a lot at this age. And we just have to be mindful of what it's saying. And I think for me, wellness is also not being afraid to hear the information from the doctors, the health information, what my blood pressure is, what is my cholesterol, what is my A1C. Those numbers are important. And being able to say, okay, everything that I do, like Myra said, is related. Your mental health, your spiritual health, your physical health, all of those things are intertwined, and listening to what my body is telling me in those various areas so I know what I need to put back into balance to create my rhythm.
I love it. I love it. I love it. It has been experience. It's been trial and error. It's been giving your space, yourself space, grace, and even allowing the frustration that has led.
Shane, let me add that frustration and trial and error when you're going through things, and I'm ordering this product. okay, let me try this thing. And you spend $30 on something and you take 5 pills and you're like, well,
This
that
don't
didn't
even
do
work.
nothing. So now there's another bottle in the section on the shelf that you're probably never going to use it again. Like that, but it's even through the frustration, is continuing to push ahead to find what my body responds to. Yeah, sometimes it's cost me some money to try to figure it out, but it's staying the course. Like I spent $40 on that. And listen, I have become good at sending people their stuff back.
Because you can, ladies and
check that
gentlemen.
refund policy.
Yes, that was a whole $40 or $50. You
Yes.
promised X.
Yes.
Do not do that for me. I would like my
Can I add
$50 back.
something on top of what Myra says? What I think is really important of our generation. We're very resilient.
Yes.
And so, you know, we don't crumble at the sign of something that doesn't work. We're like, okay, we got to tweak something here.
Right.
Let's pick up and move. We don't like, oh, okay, it's all over. I just, you know, so that resiliency, that grit, that stick-to-itness is really a part of our generation. Because we were the latchkey kids that were home alone. We know how to
figure it out,
you know, like make it happen.
Absolutely. I want that to be such a big takeaway from this conversation, because for me and to me, it gives those who are coming behind us hope. It gives them almost a blueprint in how to enter into a foreign season. Okay, so these experiences are new, but if I glean from those who trailed a path for me, at least I know some principles, some variables to go, you know, to keep at the forefront of my mind. Okay, I've got to be patient. I've got to be willing to explore some options.
Right.
I've got to be willing to allow some things to fail so that I can find out what works. I've got to give myself grace to recognize that, okay, this is good for me right now. No, next year it might change again. 5 years from now, it might change again. And I feel like, I believe when we keep that openness, because we're such a label-driven hierarchy society, that we find something that works. It's the cure of life. We label it, we go with it, and then when the body is like, sis,
that's not it. That's not it.
5 years from now, menopause is coming, and you're gonna have to change again.
Yeah.
And you're stuck, or life happens and you experience tragedy or crisis, or you relocate, or you have a different job, or your passions change.
Yeah.
And when you leave yourself open and don't label anything, don't label it, sis, don't label it, just flow.
Yes.
So you can keep yourself open. And then there's no shame. I want to say something really quickly. The young lady, Pinky of Slutty Vegan, I love her. I love her mentality. I was reading her. This was not planned. I just have it right here. I was reading her article. In essence, her boyfriend is the CEO, and he's a business guru of a Philly cheesesteak brand.
Okay.
I don't know this brand, Slutty Vegan.
Oh wow, huge in Atlanta.
Yeah, she's out of Atlanta.
It's a vegan brand.
But
I'm gonna know her because I'm vegan now.
Pull it up. Her hesitation on being with him was because her brand was so strong.
Okay.
Yes.
And my personal thought with that was, let your brand be your brand. Let your belief be your belief, but don't sanctify it.
That's
where
good.
it limits you to be able to freely accept someone who's not like you, and don't sanctify it or politicize it to the point to where you can't say, yes, I'm vegan, my boyfriend eats Philly cheesesteaks.
Right.
Because both of them are rightfully moguls in what they do.
Right.
And she talked about the challenge with trying to allow herself to be open to that love and the conflict of what the public would think, because she has this message. And I think that that's a fine line that as we journey through life, we have to work on. Don't label it, just flow.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's good.
I'm taking that. I'm writing that down on a piece of paper.
Real
right
quick.
now.
I'm eating now. I had not eaten beef for about 20 years. And that was only because I was just turned off. It wasn't a moral thing. It wasn't a religious thing. I was just turned off and I found myself overcooking. Anyway, real quick, husband and I have have a trip in Hawaii. I wanted to mountain hike. My iron was low. I knew if I didn't get that iron up, it wasn't going to happen. What did LaShana allow herself to do?
Eat a burger.
Eat some grass-fed burger.
Got me a burger. Climb that mountain. So just flow. That would be my encouragement. Ladies, I want to just don't label it, just flow.
I love that. That's a t-shirt.
Before we wrap up, I want to go back to the quiz. I only asked you one. I don't know how we got off of this. And
I know.
Thank you, y'all. We just got to talk, and this is just such a natural group to have conversation with. But those of you who are watching or catching the replay, I hope that you are enjoying this conversation, that you replay it, that you share it with other women, because these are nuggets that have no expiration date.
Absolutely.
You're going to need everything that these women have had to share. I honor you all and where you are and who you are and how you are navigating this life. And I think this is really the testament of iron sharpening iron, because each of you bring value to me. I'm so emotional lately. I'm not going to.
I told you at the beginning, we all gathered. We are not crying on this here session.
All right. Question number 2, and we'll wrap up with this, and I'll have you all to say your last words. Generation X is also known as the blank. A, the lonely generation. B, the social media generation. Or C, the latchkey generation. Generation X is also known as the blank. A, the lonely generation. B, social media generation. Or C, latchkey generation.
It's just her other skill set of a joyful voice.
Bloom, doom, doom. All right, Generation X is also known as the ladies. Hold up your signs. Let me see what you got. For the $1,000 response, C, C, and C. Yes. The latchkey generation. And this was mainly because we had working parents.
Yes.
So you would come home. Any of you want to share one of your experiences? You'd come home after school and do what?
Come home, you'd finish your chores up, you do your homework, and you definitely, you lock the doors, first of all. You don't till you're supposed to, till it was time or you had permission, but you definitely do your chores, your homework, yeah.
Put your TV dinner in the oven. Listen, that Popeye, that's when the Popeyes came out.
Oh, Popeyes, baby. The chicken pot pie.
Yes, chicken pot pie. Put that in the oven while you're doing your homework. Yes.
Frankie didn't. I bet y'all Frankie didn't know nothing about no Popeye. Some mama made a whole meal, didn't you?
Okay.
No, and I have a large family, so 4 brothers and sisters. Marilyn's cook and bake and saltfish.
They homemade whole meals.
Yeah,
we had homemade bread.
Homemade bread and stewed chicken.
It was unique for me. I grew up in the country, and the street I grew up on, my family lived on that street. So although I was a latchkey kid, you had your whole family
community,
looking out for you.
Yes.
And my grandmother lived next door, and
yes.
My mom would be, when she finished her homework and eat, take your bath, go next door and spend the night at my dear house. I'm like, I don't need to spend the night at my dear house. I'm next door. I'm gonna stay at home. So that latchkey of coming home, yet family, was very close by. And honey, you couldn't get nothing past my grandmother, because she'd be sitting and be like, Myra, who was that white truck with that license plate ABC 123 that came by at 618? I don't know.
So it was so much community.
Yeah,
so much community.
Yeah,
I was going to add that, like we grew up in a community of people that came from all over the islands to work in St. Croix. So they were from Curacao and Aruba, Trinidad, St. Martin, Barbados, and everyone on the street worked with, we all went to school together. Our parents all worked together. So I could go to anyone's house. If Marilyn had to stay after school and I was Miss Velasquez next door would take care of me. And so I think kids could be trusted to come home by themselves. Now you can't send your child home by themselves. It was it was a different time. It was much safer. The world was different. So we were very fortunate that we could do that in that time.
Community and freedom. Shawana, you were getting ready to say something. You wanted to say something?
Agreeing with that, definitely. You could a little more trustworthy to
be
able to at least trust to look out for them. Even if you didn't go to their homes, you at least knew they were looking out for you.
Right.
While walking down the street, you knew your neighbors looking out for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
We knew our neighbors. Everyone in their clustered homes. All right, last question, and we're going to wrap up. Being a Generation Xer has taught me how to blank in life. I'll repeat the question. Being a Generation Xer has taught me how to blank in life. I'll give you 10 seconds.
I'm sorry. Are we writing it down? Or
We're writing it, yes.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
So I'm gonna go Myra, Franca, Shawana to show your post, and then just to give us a brief share on your response. Being a Generation Xer has taught me how to blank in life. I like that, Naka. Naka says relate. I like that.
Flexible and tenacious.
That's so crazy.
Oh my God. Put yours back up, Myra. Everybody put yours up. Oh, I love it. Flexible, tenacious.
And they use the same word.
Yes.
Yeah, we are the same. We are the same. And really, for me, the flexibility was, like you said, we were latchkey kids, and then we had kids, and then a lot of us had to take care of a parent, see after a parent. The sandwich generation, like we were always in the middle of something, right?
Yes.
So that teaches you flexibility and the tenacity of, like Franca said earlier, keep going. An obstacle is presented, a barrier is presented.
Yes.
You got to figure out how to get around it, under it, over it, whatever that looks like. I was just saying, Lord have mercy, I love the millennials. We raised 4 of them, but we made these children too soft, my God. We gave them so many crutches, and it was from us having to figure it out and do it.
Right.
We wanted them to avoid a lot of that. Yeah. And I don't know, I think our parents were onto something by making us figure it out. And we really just had to, because like we said, they were working, trying to take care of us, but that has built such a grit in our generation that, okay, well, that would knock me down. Let me catch my breath, dust myself off, and then we're gonna have to figure it out. We're gonna keep going. I think that's something just amazing about our generation, especially the women from our generation. We're going to figure it out, and we're going to keep going.
That's it. I think that everyone needs Generation Xers in their lives as friends, as mentors, as go-to people, as confidants, bounce ideas off of, just because of the values that we have learned.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's so important. And the reverse mentorship is important as well. I think the youth have a lot to teach us.
Yeah.
But I think Generation X just sits in the middle of 2 pivotal generations, baby boomers and millennials, that offer, they sometimes call us the forgotten generation.
Yes.
And I feel like there is so much voice that Xers have to offer. And with that being said, I have to encourage you all to keep being voices. I feel like sometimes our voices are overshadowed because we don't have to have so much fanfare.
Right.
We are adaptable, like you all said. We are tenacious. We are resilient. We know how to shift. We know how to bob and weave. We know how to move and maneuver. And there's a lot to be said about that. So that voice that we carry is very much so needed. As we wrap up, I'm going back and I'm just looking at something that one of the guests, Tara from She Dates Savvy LLC, shared, and I want us to all consider that as a takeaway, because we talked a lot about health and well-being. She said, "I've always chased the trendy diets and etc., but I'm exhausted of it. And at this point, I just want to move my body and eat what I want in
Yes.
moderation." Great conversation, ladies.
Yes.
Yes, I agree with Tara.
Yeah.
Excellent.
100%.
Give us takeaway words, lady. One or two liners. And as you're doing that, let me put your contact information up. I want you all to please connect with these women, solid, grounded women. They would not be friends of mine. And I wouldn't trust voices outside of anybody who I didn't think could bring you sound advice. So definitely connect with them. And as you all are logging their information, each of you just give us a closing statement about just the beauty of what life has brought you.
I would say my last sentiments would be to embrace aging well. Embrace it by rebuking anti-aging.
Yes. Come on, Shawana.
But you know, embracing them well and knowing that there's still more life to live. There's that aging well does not mean there's no more things to be accomplished or contribution to be made, but it's still more memories to be made. It's still more contributions to be given. It's still more more contributions to be rendered. Still life to live. Every breath you take. So age well.
I love it. I love it.
I would say be gentle with yourself. Listen, the journey is going to keep changing. You know, as my mother used to say, it's a good thing to keep waking up saying good morning. That means you're getting older. So be gentle with yourself on this journey. As your body changes, your relationships are going to change. Even what you view as success and what your passion is, those things will change. Be gentle with yourself on the journey. Stay tenacious.
Yes.
Get your rest because you need it.
Yes.
And keep going. Keep going.
Yes, I love it. I love that. Thank you, Myra. Franca?
I would say the same thing as the two ladies. I think one of the most important things that I take away from getting older is it's such a privilege. And, you know, we are blessed to live this life, having seen everything that we have seen before. And now we're getting to live in this new era where we get to take advantage of so many things that didn't exist in our parents' time. So we are very, very blessed. And to look at life as a gift, focusing on the gratitude that will really lead into the joy that we will experience in this phase in our lives.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Listen, ladies, thank you. Thank you so much. We have only just begun. Who was that? Who sings that?
The Carpenters. We've
Carpenters.
only just begun.
One of Jean's. We have only just begun. And that's how aging well has to be considered. Let's see, I have one. Who is this? Naka. Okay, thank you, Naka. Oh, hearts.
Oh,
yes.
Listen, everyone, thank you all for joining us again. Replay this podcast and connect with these women. I guarantee you that your lives will be enriched for it. Remember, as always, you always hear me say it in Holistically Well, to be well and be whole. Until the next time, love you, ladies.
Love you.
Good
Night.
Bye, ladies.
Bye.